The president has made border security a mainstay of his message, dating back to the campaign with Build That Wall, and Mexico will pay for it, though that last promise is long gone. So far, despite the president's claims to the contrary, there is no new wall. Existing barriers have been replaced with new ones, same span, not new place. The total of repaired barrier is about 60 miles along that 2,000-mile border. The president also said in the tweet that the wall is going up rapidly. It is not. As we just reported, there is no new wall, only replacement for walls which were in need of repair or upgrade. Those are the facts.
And Shep we trust, of course. Shepard Smith with Fox News, proving again that with facts like those, Donald Trump has to deal with the fact that at least some at Fox News aren't working for him anymore. And Shep really never has. But boy, it sure has. We've come a long way from build that wall, and I promise you we're going to build that wall. Believe me, Mexico's going to pay for it. Believe me. To, as Shep said, no new wall has been built. None. In fact, the only thing that Donald Trump has done is he's rebuilt 60 miles of Barack Obama's wall, which really is not going to be that catchy of a chant in 2020. Rebuild Obama's wall, rebuild Obama's wall. But that's what he's doing. He's got 60 miles of it. But of course, if you ask why that is, of course, I just need to underline this fact for some people who don't have the Google machine. The reason why the wall was never built when Republicans ran Washington, D.C. the first 2 years of Donald Trump's administration is because people like Lindsey Graham said, made no sense, was a waste of money. John Cornyn in Texas said the same thing. We could build a wall, but you can go over it, you can climb under it. Republicans, Mitch McConnell had no interest. Mitch McConnell, you know Moscow Mitch, he can do whatever he wants to do, right? He kills any plans that Republicans and Democrats have to save American democracy from Russian interference. So he's a pretty powerful guy in Washington, D.C., and yet when Republicans ran the Senate and the House and the White House, Mitch chose not to fund the wall, just like the Republicans in the House chose not to fund the wall, just like Donald Trump chose not to fund the wall. He didn't push for it. He had a chance, actually. Democrats, and this is in your Google machine if you want to check on it, Democrats actually offered him $21 billion to build that wall in exchange for a pretty common sense, pretty popular immigration reform plan. Donald Trump said no. So there we are, Shep, getting you up to date, as Shep always does get you up to date. Donald Trump's not only not build that wall, Mexico hasn't paid for that wall, that pretend imaginary wall, but all he's done is he's fixed up 60 miles of wall that was existing under Barack Obama. So there you have it. Well, good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It's Thursday, August 29th. As you can tell, because I'm talking so much, Mika has the morning off. But
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.